This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your source for the latest Iowa ag news headlines right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, Mark Magnuson, and Andy Peterson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Today's Tuesday, the 3rd of June, 2025. So glad you could join us here today, the day before World Pork Expo kicks off in Des Moines. So we'll be looking for coverage from there coming up the next couple of days here on the network. Coming up a little later on in the program, we're going to talk with Cory Bratland of agmarket.net to run down those closing numbers. But first, we're going to talk with Patrick Giberson, a member of the United Soybean Board of Directors. We're going to be talking a lot about infrastructure today and what he has to say about roads, rails, bridges, and even rivers and the internet. All that coming up right now. Talking with Patrick Giberson of the United Soybean Board. Thanks so much, Patrick, for taking some time to talk with us.
Oh, thank you for having us. Phenomenal. First time down here last year. Had a great time, great interviews, met some great people. Got to talk about what I love the most, and that's moving soybean demand.
So I know you're a farmer in New Jersey. I know in Iowa we're getting close to wrapping up planting. How are things looking in your neck of the woods?
We were a little bit dry early on. Right now, obviously, we're getting some rain today. It's here, moving up that way. We're probably about halfway through. We got a little bit of a late start, and like you said, a couple planter issues that we won't talk about. And
I think those are universal no matter what state you're in.
So anyway. Now, I got about 15 acres of corn left to go. Had a glitch there, and soybeans will get rolling on. Should be done in a couple days with that.
That sounds good. What we're talking today is infrastructure, connectivity, and things like that. So on infrastructure point of view, what's the United Soybean Board really talking about right now? What's their top of mind thought?
With infrastructure, there's a lot of things that we got going on. One of the big ones, we were down in New Orleans in February for our board meeting, and the 5 foot that they're lowering the Mississippi River with dredging project they're doing down there. People don't realize the economic value it adds to us soybean farmers, and especially even up in Iowa, because everything's coming down that way on barges. But the ocean-going vessels coming in and out of there, if they lower that another 5 foot, that's 500,000 bushel more going out on every one. So when doing that, it's about 13 cents a bushel cost savings. So it makes us more competitive. One of the big things we've always been with our export partners across the world, we're on time, we got the cost down, our infrastructure, connecting our beans with them, we're more predictable. So,
and the soybean board and the checkoff has been very active in helping with those upgrades on the Mississippi. I mean, because it's not only been the dredging, it's been the locks that have needed to be updated. Some of them were built 70, 80, 100 years ago, and they still need to be upgraded. I mean, it's just been a long, lengthy project, but in the end, it's going to pay dividends.
Yeah, it will. And I mean, even I think it's locked in dam number 25 on the river. They've extended that double in size. So, I mean, now we're getting twice the amount of barges in there on a tow. And same thing with that. I mean, economically, you're moving things quicker. You don't have the log jams there with barges backed up. Everything works, in accordance with that. So, yeah.
Okay. What other infrastructure things are you guys talking about? I mean, we talk about Mississippi. That's obviously the heart and soul of this country. We're shipping from the Midwest. What are things you guys working on?
Well, I guess people, when you look at things, the world kind of is small when you think about it because everything connects to each other. Mm-hmm. One of the big things, too, is, rail, river, and road. I mean, we look at it all, working with STC and everybody else. And, our bridges, there's a lot of work that needs to be done infrastructure-wise there. We have antiquated systems. I mean, it's called the Eisenhower Interstate System for a reason. We're going back to 1950, yep. Okay? So, it's one of those things where upgrades haven't been done. And just not too far from here, you've seen what happened when one bridge got taken out of the fray, what it did to a port in Baltimore.
Right.
So, I mean, it's very robust, but it's very fragile at the same time. So, I mean, looking forward, the rail end of it, we're looking at 6 of the Class 1 carriers and trains going to biodiesel. So that's another thing that, like I said, they're kind of connected. You have Goodyear with the tires that are running on the road. We do it with them. Also, high oleic, they're using out for a binder, which Iowa was part of that, a big part of it, using that in the asphalt. So, I mean, you can look at the innovation and the infrastructure kind of in the same sentence.
It's all about returning the investment for the soybean farmer, and it's such a wide variety. Like you said, the oils that go into the roads and all the innovation is great, but again, the infrastructure investments have to be there to make that all pay off in the end. Especially like we've talked about this before. I know the Soybean Board has talked about this too. It's the fact that we are in a tight marketplace this year. It's just the way it is, and we know that ebbs and flows. That's nothing unusual. It's nothing new. But obviously, getting every dollar you can squeeze out of every acre is going to be so important this year.
It is, and it's one of the things that we try to tout, when we're talking to our farmers, because that's who funds us. I mean, the checkoff is, self-sustained. It's farmer-led, farmer-funded, and trying to cause demand and bring the most money we can for that American soybean farmer. And right now, our studies are showing that every dollar that we invest on this board, $12.30 comes back. So if you're on Wall Street, that's a pretty good return.
That it is. Any messages you have for the farmers, especially the ones back in Iowa I'm going to be talking to when I get back, just about the year ahead as we're wrapping up planting?
Well, I think everybody, everybody's kind of concerned right now. We're in that uncertainty market that we're in. And I think the easiest way to put that is, the tortoise and the hare thing, winning the race. And I think just a steady hand on that rudder guiding this ship right now is going to be the way to go. I don't think it's going to be a good or a bad. It's just going to take some time here. We go through cycles all the time. Right. We're farmers. We deal with this every year. Every year is different.
It goes back to you just hit what's ever pitched to you, right?
Yeah. So we're going to keep doing it. So, I mean, it's going to be what it is.
All right. Well, Patrick, I thank you so much for taking the time to give us those updates. Look forward to hearing more as the year goes on.
All right. Thank you.
That again was Patrick Giberson of the United Soybean Board, a New Jersey soybean farmer. We're going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, we'll talk with Cory Bratland of agmarket.net. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. Welcome back to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and time to run down our closing markets. Right now, we're talking with Cory Bratland of agmarket.net. And Cory, let's start with the grains, those corn and soybeans. What did we see come out of the markets today?
Hey, Dustin, good to see you again. Grain market's a little stronger today on the corn and the soybean market. We did have July corn futures kind of played on either side of unchanged. And some of that is a function of South America is getting a little bit more competitive on the export business to the U.S. here for later this summer. And that is just a function of their corn crop down in South America, mainly Brazil, is getting larger than what they expected. So that is kind of keeping that July contract under a little bit of pressure. New crop corn is going to end up around 2.5 to 3 cents here on the day. Crop ratings yesterday, we saw, we're 1% better in the good to excellent, which was to be expected. And I think most of us expect ratings to increase another, 1, maybe 2% again next week. Now, soybean futures where July was up around 7-8 cents with the November contract up around a nickel. They come out with their ratings yesterday at 67% rated good to excellent, which was right in line with what we were expecting. However, that's still, I think, the lowest level we've had in the last 6 years. So I think you're seeing a little bit of premium wanting to get added back into these new crop months here, just because it's June 3rd. We got a lot of weather to go through, and a lot of things can happen yet.
Is this basically mostly a weather market then right now at this stage? Because I know you mentioned a lot of those weather situations. Is that primarily it, or is there any other things that are moving those grains?
Yeah, predominantly weather. We are waiting to hear back. I think President Trump announced that tomorrow, June 4th, is a deadline for the countries that he's negotiating with to come there. They're supposed to come back with with their best deal offer on a trade deal. So we'll see if any kind of that information, a political stuff could, really influence this market, but predominantly it's all about weather here right now, Dustin.
Okay, then switching over to the livestock side of things, cattle and hogs, what do we see coming out of those markets today?
Cattle had another interesting day. We were stronger with talks that we're going to see wanted to see some higher cash. We did see some higher cash prices. What I'm hearing through, I didn't see exact numbers, but all I heard it was higher in the north here. And cattle futures were up, $140, $150. Although they that wasn't what the funds ended up doing. They end up on the selling side of things. So overall, we had June cattle down, 70, 80 cents. We saw the deferred months on the live cattle down, $1 plus in here. So we kind of had another kind of a reversal lower here after a stronger day. And, that cash market is so much higher than where futures are. So, those that are bullish in this market have got to be kind of growing a little bit tired of this happening. This has happened for the last week or so in this market. Feeder cattle, same way, a little bit, started out pretty strong, up a couple bucks, only to see the market close, 50, 80 cents lower. On the hogs, they were kind of mixed. The front couple months were lower with the deferred up a little bit. So they're kind of struggling too in these hogs. If we don't see a close above 102 here pretty quick, I think that market might be set up for a little bit of a pullback.
All right. Well, lots to think about there, Cory. If folks want to talk about some of their options, talk about how the market's looking right now for making plans, what's the best way for them to get in touch with agmarket.net?
Yeah, just easiest way, just head on over to our website, which is www.agmarket.net.
All right. Well, Cory, thanks so much for the insight. We'll talk to you again real soon.
All right. Thanks, Dustin.
That again was Cory Bratland of agmarket.net. Let's go ahead and take a look at those closing numbers for you. You can find those at iowaagnet.com under the market tab. At the close, July corn up a quarter cent at 4.38 and a half. Soybeans up 7 1/4 at 10.40 3/4. Soy meal up 60 cents at 294.50. Soy oil 53 cents higher at 46.81. Chicago wheat down 3 at 5.36 even. Kansas wheat down 3 at 5.36 3/4. Minneapolis spring wheat down 9 1/4 at 6.18 even. Oats up 4 3/4 at 3.84 3/4. On the Merc, live cattle down 57 cents at 215.97. Feeders down 52 cents at 301.22. Lean hogs down 62 cents at $100.22. Pork cutouts 57 cents higher at 106.87. Class 3 milk 40 cents lower at 18.70. And that's been a check of our closing market recap, and that brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, X, and here on our YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribing, hitting that bell icon so you can be notified each time we put out a new video project. Also, don't forget about the free market analysis sent 3 times a day right to your mobile device, openings, middays, and closings. You can also find that, odds of potential, Iowa Ag Matters replay, weekend Ag Matters, and much more. And you can find them under the podcast tab at iowaagnet.com, or you can find them on Google, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Andy Peterson, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.